Okay, so there it is, the only option that we had, and I'm even thinking, do we maybe we do have another guy that we might meet if I just say, oh, actually, never mind. Let me try all of the choices we have in here, because I know that the second one that I didn't pick it, I picked the first one. I know the second one takes us to another guy, but the third one I do not know. Okay, so how do I? Okay, let me. Oh, he auto saves. Okay, let me do a save in here. Sorry. God. So, would you like to try interviewing some other people besides just an intern? Yeah, that's what I said.
いろんな人?
People do lots of different jobs here at the hospital. If you introduce more occupations into PR brochure, it might feel more complete.
いいと思います。でもどういう人に取材するのがいいんでしょうか?
Good question. I tried to think of who I felt able to approach, and Cocoro folded her arms across her chest, her expression turning thoughtful as well. But before long, she looked up at me again, clapping her hands together as if she'll come up with something. How about an experienced doctor? I think it'll be interesting to have articles from the perspectives of both an intern and a skilled physician.
それはいいですね。でもどなたにお願いすればいいのか。急なことですし、許可が下りないのでは。
Oh, I just know because I went and looked just another person that had this, and I didn't actually watch it. I just happened to pass by the scene where she was choosing it, and I know she chose the second one, and there was like another guy in there. So I was like, oh, okay, that's why. In here, I was like, let's try the first one because I don't know what happens in the first one. You know, I was kind of like, oh, okay. I didn't saw it. I was just skipping. Sometimes I do it just to have like an idea, like, oh, am I going to have like mini games, or am I going to like, just like that. But I didn't actually saw nothing of the game. I'm seeing it basically for the first time with you. But I saw there was like another guy, which is one of the love interests that we have in there. So I was like, oh wait, then we are missing like that guy. But the third option, it makes me think that maybe even the third option might have other people too. I don't know. We can try it. But Cocoro smiles cheerfully in response to my question. I know a doctor who might be willing to help, so I'll introduce you to them.
それは助かります。よろしくお願いします。
And that's how the two of us ended up heading back into the hospital again. Cocoro led me through the hospital until eventually we reached the physiatric department. Excuse me. Yeah, this was the guy that when I was like skipping the other person's video, I was like, oh, okay. I didn't saw any mini games or nothing, so I was like, oh, fine. I always like to watch for those. We stepped into one of the consultation rooms, and Dr. Shu, who was well known throughout the hospital, looked up with a start. He hastily gathered together the paperwork in front of him, slipping it into a nearby folder and closing it before we could see what it was.
今の私たちから書類を隠したような。いや、でも仕事の書類だったら部外費だろうし、別に気にすることじゃないか。
なんだ、君か。何の用だ?
Oh, I bet he's going to be like the cold and collected, right? Shu, Dr. Shu, isn't this Dr. Takafumi's room? The instant Shu spotted Cocoro, he frowned a little. He looked almost irritated in a way, and Cocoro dropped her gaze as if she'll notice it as well. At the same moment, Shu seemed to notice me at last, and his eyes widened a little as his gaze settled on me.
失礼。隣の君は確か事務員の。
はじめまして、こうです。医療事務員でしたが、先日広報課に移動しました。
広報課。広報課の方が何か用でしょうか。
Is Dr. Takafumi around?
教授なら今は席を外している。
I see.
どうかしたのか。
Well, you see, I listened quietly as Cocoro explained the new PR brochure we were working on to Shu. He seemed to grasp the situation quite quickly, but his expression suggested he was annoyed by it, and I bit my lip.
そうか。事情はよくわかった。だが教授はお忙しい方だ。突然取材に来られても対応はできないだろう。
I suppose you're right. I'm sorry. Well, if you'll excuse us. Cocoro bowed her head, looking apologetic, and I took a step forward, wanting to intervene before she could hurry us out of there.
それではシュウ先生にご協力をお願いできないでしょうか。
Oh.
シュウ先生は院内でも評判の天才医師。インタビューを載せられるだけでも十分話題になるはず。
That thought had given me the courage to ask, but for some reason Cocoro was frowning, her expression clouded. No, She hesitated, seeming oddly evasive somehow, and something in her attitude shifted in a way that felt distancing. I'm sure that Dr. Shu is busy too, and he's not fond of this sort of thing, are you? But Shu calmly shrugged his shoulders as Cocoro turned to look at him.
いや、問題ない。
I'm kind of like finding it strange that her name is just Cocoro. What about like, well, if she's using it like that, maybe she's using it as a last name? Cocoro is heart. Okay, let me do it like this. Cocoro is heart. Maybe she is using it, but I've saw it as a first one. I don't know if I ever saw it as the last one. Probably did. I don't know. I don't remember. Huh?
確かに暇ではない。だが医師として協力すべきだろう。
いいんですか？ありがとうございます。研修医さん、やっぱり様子がおかしい。
Yeah, she's not. You are understanding. She's not saying Cocoro. She's saying Kenshui. Kenshui is an intern doctor, resident doctor. I don't actually know how you say when it's like this. It's like the intern. And she's calling her like that. She's not saying Cocoro. But yeah, of course, they translate it as Cocoro. Shu had accepted quite willingly, yet in spite of that, Cocoro seemed hesitant and uncomfortable. I couldn't help worrying that something was wrong, but nonetheless, I followed Shu as he led the way to his own office.
どうぞ、そこのソファーに座って。
失礼します。
Thank you. The two of us entered Shu's office and sat down on the sofa, and he sat across from us, calmly crossing his legs.
で、取材というのは具体的にどういうことを話せばいいんですか？
ではまず、共感スコアについて話を聞かせてもらえますか？共感スコアとはどういうものなのでしょう？It
was the most basic part of modern society, but since I was writing an article, I felt like it would help to start with a clear explanation.
そうだな。日常的に使われる言葉だが、正確に分かっていない人もいる。
Shu's expression turned thoughtful for a moment, and then he spoke again.
君はちゃんと理解しているか？
What? You're asking me?
君も研修医なら患者に説明する機会があるだろう。話しながら君が正しい知識を持っているか確認させてもらおうか。
Sure.
ではお願いします。
I flickered the switch on my voice recorder, and Shu launched into an explanation just as if he was giving a lecture to a room full of students.
共感スコアとは、感情の起伏や他者への共感性、理性や反社会的傾向などを総合的に測定した数値のこと。それらはすべて AI によって日常的に測定・記録される。その代表的なものが共感スコアアクセサリーだ。
はい。
I nodded at his words, reaching up reflexively to touch the choker I wore around my neck.
共感スコアのレベルは6つに分けられる。研修医、わかるか？
Yes, I do. The categories are aberration, hyper empathy, high empathy, stable, unstable, and critical. Depending on the category, monitoring or additional support may be required.
その通りだ。となればもちろん、人が目指すべきレベルは安定域だということは分かってもらえると思う。
Yeah, people might try to aim for that, but they might feel too much unstable and go into other phases.
感情を大きく揺らさない穏やかな状態に保つことが推奨されているということですね。
And I'm still trying to remember that other anime which had like this type of situation. And they were like a working force or something, kind of like police. And they were trying to arrest people that were kind of like getting too much emotional. I'm trying to... It's not coming into my... psychic something? I don't remember. Sorry, I don't remember. It will come eventually. It's not coming. I think it was psychic something. I don't know. But high empathy and hyper empathy aren't always considered bad. Isn't that right, Dr. Shu?
ああ、共感性が高いことで物事が有利に働くこともある。
というと？
There are actually plenty of people in the hospitality and healthcare industries who have high empathy. It's thought that high empathy better allows them to provide people with the care they require.
そういうことだ。
Shu nodded in response to Cocoro, but then quickly murmured a rebuttal.
しかし、かといって共感性は高ければいいわけじゃない。逸脱域になれば強制対象になる。反対もしかり。危険域のように数値が低すぎれば、もちろんそれも強制対象になる。感情の振れ幅が大きい人はメディアンスタビライザーを常用するのが一般的だな。
つまり私みたいな人はそう珍しくないってことか。具体的に共感スコアが上がるのはどういう時なんでしょうか？
主に感情が高ぶった時だな。興奮や歓喜のように大きく感情が動くときは注意が必要だろ
う。では共感スコアが下がるのは落ち込んだり気分が沈んだりする状態ですね。
Things like jealousy and despair can also often trigger a drop in someone's empathy score.
そうだな。感情ドンマが見られる人は要注意だと思う。
なるほど。とてもわかりやすかったです。ありがとうございました。
Let me just try if I can find it. What was the name of it? I'm kind of finding it strange that you're not telling me nothing about it either. You're not seeing it. Oh, Psychopaths. Oh, now everyone is like, oh, now I see. Yeah, psychopaths. Um, that's it. It was kind of like reminding me of that one. I see. Thank you. That was very easy to understand.
次に差し支えなければシュウ先生についてもお伺いしてよろしいですか？
あ、話せることであれば。
ありがとうございます。では先生が医者になった理由というか医者を目指すようになったきっかけは？
亡くなった母の影響だな。母も医者だったから物心ついた頃には自分も医者になろうと思っていた。
お母様の意志を継いでということですね。周先生は当病院でも評判の良いお医者様ですし、きっとお母様も喜んでいらっしゃいますね。
そうだろうか。ま、そうだといいなとは思っている。
Shu smiled wryly at my words, and his gaze moved towards Cocoro. I glanced over at Cocoro as well, but she was looking away from us both, and her expression seemed vaguely sorrowful.
研修医さん、どうしました？
Oh, no, it's nothing.
何でもないなら気を使わせるような顔をするな。これが患者の前だったらどうする？
I'll be more careful in the future.
研修医だからと気を抜くな。こういう基本的なことは誰も注意してはくれないぞ。
I know, thank you. Shu's words were gruff, but there was something gentle about his gaze, and I glanced back and forth between them.
気になっていたんですけど、もしかして研修医さんと周先生はもともとお知り合いだったんでしょうか
As soon as I spoke, Shu glanced away, and for the first time, he actually seemed at a loss for words, albeit briefly.
小さい頃、一緒に過ごしただけだ。
小さい。
幼馴染ってことですか？
Yes, but we only spent a year together. We never saw each other after that. We only really just met up again when I came here to the hospital.
そういうことですか。
Cocoro's words finally helped me make sense of the stilted vibe I've been sensing between the two of them the whole time.
久しぶりに会ったばかりで、まだ照れくささが残ってたのかな。それとも他に何かあったりして。
家の事情で研修医の地元に行っただけだ。他には何もない。
The cold and collected. From the way Shu spoke, it was almost as if he guessed what I've been thinking, and I gulped.
ああ、そうなんですね。地元ってどこなんですか？
An island called Sea Roar Island. It's a really lush place. There's just so much nature there.
初めて聞きました。お二人は何歳の時に知り合ったんですか？
俺が10歳の時だった。研修医は7歳だったな。
Yes, that's right.
周先生の子供時代って全然想像つかないですね。
Oh my god, that's a bit rude though. As soon as I said it, Cocoro burst out laughing. I'm sorry, but you are right. It's hard to imagine, isn't it? He's practically the same now as he was then, though.
おい、それはどういう意味だ？
It means you were always mature. Even as a kid, you were always alone and you preferred reading books to playing outside.
はあ、懐かしいな。研修医が俺に向かってこようとしてつまずいたんだったな。盛大に転んで俺の目の前で大泣きするもんだからさすがに面食らったのを覚えている。
Of course, that's the one thing you'll remember.
衝撃的だったからな。なかなか忘れられるものではない。
But after I fell over, you held out your hand and helped me get back up again.
さあ、そうだったか。
Really, did I do it? That's what he's saying. Shu spoke the words with an air of feigned innocence, but his expression seemed so softened just a little.
可愛らしい思い出ですね。そこから仲良くなったんですか？
Nope, not at all. For ages, he just kept on ignoring me, and I guess it frustrated me, so I ended up determined to make friends with him no matter what it took.
確かにあの頃の君はしつこかった。
Well, apparently she still is, because the other guy was telling us that too. I kept forcing him to do stuff with me, like collecting herbs or watching me skip stones across the river.
仕方なく相手していただけだ。放っておいたらまたどこかで転ぶかと思ってな。
Geez, there you go again. Cocoro's lips formed a pout, her cheeks flushing, and Shu smiled, a nostalgic look in his eyes.
事実を言ったまでだ。君はよく転ぶから目が離せない。
最初は仲が悪いのかと思ったけど。
By now, it was clear they were completely in sync with each other. If anything, it seemed unbelievable that they only met up again recently.
お二人は本当に仲良しなんですね。
そんなことない。
No, we're not. They both turned red at my words, exclaiming their denial in almost perfect unison. There was something so delightfully sweet about it that I couldn't help laughing.
おお、にぎやかだな。高文先生。
Takafumi was, sorry, I was going to say Takafumi sensei. Dr. Takafumi was a senior doctor at the hospital, and we all jumped a little as he knocked at the door and poked his head into the room.
なんか面白そうなことしてんね。
His smile was friendly as he stepped into the room, and I saw that he was carrying a bag of chips and a large bottle of juice. I'm sorry if we were being too noisy, Dr. Takafumi.
いや、楽しいのはいいこといいこと。あ、これ差し入れな。ありがとうございます。本当は酒が良かったけど、勤務中だからな。あれ？君は医療事務の。
こうです。先日広報課に異動になりました。
This is really localized because I'm like, I can totally understand what they're saying. And I can really feel it, how localized it is. But it's good. It's actually pretty good. In no time at all, I found myself telling him about the PR brochure I was putting together and about how I was interviewing doctors for it.
そういうことだったのか。悪いね。せっかく来てくれたのに席を外してて。
It's okay, Dr. Shu has been answering lots of questions for us instead.
お前が取材を受けるなんてね。何ですか？いや、珍しいこともあるもんだと思ってな。それで、取材は終わったのか？
はい、記事作成にはもう問題ないと思います。
I nodded quickly, and Takafumi's lips curved upward in a smile as he sat down next to Shu.
なら今度は俺の話し相手になってもらおうかな。みんなも付き合ってくれるかい？
Well, sure.
教授、そんな暇あるんですか？息抜きだよ、息抜き。ずっと神経張り詰めてたら参っちまうからな。
I think I like him. Yeah, I like this type of guys. Let's see how it goes. You're a very busy man, aren't you, Dr. Takafumi?
俺はまあ慣れてるから。それよりも無理しがちなやつもいるしな。
Takafumi grinned, suddenly clapping Shu on the shoulder, and Shu gave a quick, wry smile in response.
お前さんも一緒だぞ。
Am I?
若い子ってのは案外自分の体力の限界を分かってないもんだよ。だからさ。
The mood seemed relaxed and friendly, but I got the impression that Takafumi's tone that he was appreciative of my efforts too.
とりあえず飲むか。
いただきます。
Thank you. Takafumi poured glasses of juice for us all, and soon we were quenching our thirst and enjoying ourselves talking about anything and nothing. The interviews had been Cocoro's idea, and thanks to her, I learned all sorts of new things. I couldn't help feeling incredibly grateful. Several hours later. We'll finally finish the interviews, and the three of us decided we might as well all head to the station together.
今日は本当にありがとうございました。おかげでいい記事が作れそうです。
I'm glad to hear it, and if anything seems unclear once you are working on it, please feel free to reach out. Right, Shu?
まあ乗りかかった船だからな。研修医では手に余ることがあれば協力しよう。
Yeah, I already noticed that none of them actually say her name. I think it's because you can choose a name for the protagonist. But like usually in these games, if you keep the same name, they usually say it. But in here, like nope, they are all treating her as the intern, or like using other types of expressions like anta, kimi, it's like that. That's not a very nice way to say it. As we were walking to the station, I heard some sort of commotion from somewhere nearby. It seems pretty crowded over there. Do you think there's a festival going on or something?
あれは
I turned to look and spotted a banner showing the broken gears that was the logo for the Resistance. The Resistance was a group that was against AI control and often held protests near the hospital. So like, it's funny that in each choice that we took, like things were completely different. They were probably in the middle of protests right now, and other passers-by were ducking into side streets in order to avoid them. If it's a festival, maybe I'll go take a look for a bit. I was startled by how oblivious Cocoro seemed to the whole thing. But then Shu spoke up, as if he already anticipated her suggestion.
やめておけ。田舎から出てきたばかりでこの辺りの地理にもそう明るくないんだろ。
Is that a roundabout way to suggesting I'll get lost?
遠回しに行っているつもりはないがな。都会で道に迷っても誰も助けてはくれないぞ。
I swear, you are always so awful when you're in a mood.
そうか。研修医さんはゼノリアに来たばかりだから革命軍のことも知らないのか。だとしたら確かに今は向こうに近づかない方がいい。
The city really is amazing, isn't it? It's so bright even at night. It's nothing like the island at all. She spoke quietly, her voice full of emotion, and I tried changing the topic in an effort to distract her from the protest.
島での暮らしはどういう感じなんですか？
A bright smile lit up her face, and it was clear just how much she loved her home. It really is just non-stop nature. There's nothing there at all. There's no advanced AI or anything. So the people living there just go about their lives, dealing with their emotions as they come.
へえ、それは少し羨ましいですね。
And when I say nothing, I mean no civilization. It's surrounded by the sea, and there's mountains too, and the stars at night are beautiful.
満天の星か。確かにゼノリアは地上が明るすぎて星なんて全く見えないですもんね。
Yeah, it's like in most of our cities, like you cannot actually see like the stars because there's just so many lights everywhere.
いつか私も海なり島に行ってみたいです。
If you do, please let me show you around, although there's not really any famous places that actually need a travel guide. Cocoro shrugged cheerfully, and I couldn't help laughing at her joke. We were both completely caught up in the conversation when suddenly Cocoro slipped on the edge of the pavement. Oh my god, why is she always falling? Kokoro's legs seemed to slide out from under her, and in moments she was toppling backward. I reached out quickly to grab her, but I wasn't quite close enough to reach. Shu caught Kokoro from behind, his arms wrapped around her just in time to stop her from falling. Well, apparently she really does, because she was going to fall on the other one too. Shu was smiling as he steadied Kokoro in his arms, her body slumped against him. Something about his smile felt off to me just a little. As he gazed down at Cocoro, something wavered deep in his eyes, something intense that almost bordered an obsession. Oh my god, bordered an obsession? Oh my god. Suddenly he looked at me and I jumped. The warmth he directed at Cocoro was gone, replaced by a chill that sent a shiver down my spine. The whole aura he gave off scared me, but Cocoro seemed completely unaware of it as she straightened up and turned to look at him. Thanks, Shu, that could have been bad. But I swear I'm being careful so you don't have to keep treating me like a kid. Jeez, Shu. Shu's gaze softened and he reached out, gently smoothing Kokoro's hair back from her face and tucking it behind her ear. At a glance, they could have been a couple, and the mood in the air was suddenly so romantic that Cocoro and I were both blushing. Shu. Shu started a little at Kokoro's voice, quickly dropping his hand away from her face. But even as I averted my gaze, I could see that his ears were flushed as well. Sorry. Shu turned and began to walk in the opposite direction, almost as if trying to hide his embarrassment from us both. Shu, thanks for today. Take care, okay? Shu didn't look back or say anything in response, but he raised his hand in a casual wave. We stood watching as he vanished into the distance, and then Cocoro spoke again, her voice quiet and confused. I think Shu might be going to that festival. But his score is... I couldn't quite catch her final words, and I glanced over at her, but she caught herself suddenly, turning to look at me. No, it's nothing. I just got that impression, I guess. Yeah, girl, but it was probably because he was like scared that you would fall, and he was like having like those obsessive eyes, as Ko told us. And he was getting emotional about it. And having you in his arms, you know. Her smile made me think she wasn't being entirely honest, but we weren't that close yet, and I didn't feel as if I could press her about it. No way. Oh, wait. I mean, I do want to go to the Matsuri, the festival. But it's not like I wanted to go with you or anything. She was all flustered and blushing, and there was something endearingly sweet about it that filled my heart with warmth. What is it? She looked at me curiously, and I gave her a warm, affectionate smile.
研修医さんともっと仲良くなりたいから、研修医ちゃんって呼んでもいいですか？
I think she said the same thing on the other one, didn't she? Kokoro's eyes went wide, but a moment later a soft, sweet smile lit up her whole face. Yes, of course, I was thinking how I'd like to get to know you better too.
改めてこれからもよろしくね、研修医ちゃん。
Me too. We both held out our right hands and shared a nice, firm handshake. For some strange reason, touching Cocoro like that made me feel as if a fresh, clear breeze was blowing right through me. I knew this is sudden, but do you want to have lunch with me in the hospital cafeteria tomorrow?
賛成。人気のエスプレッソとケーキ食べてみたいし。
Same, I can't wait.
これからもこんな風に研修医ちゃんと楽しく過ごせたらいいな。
I smile at her, holding on to that thought as we set off again towards the train station. So let's just try and see if there is something going on with oh, actually, never mind. Is this going to get me somewhere or not? Now I'm curious. Cocoro told me she'll just had an idea, and I waited hopefully for her to explain. But then... Oh, actually, you know what? Never mind. I'm sorry, I should have thought that through more before I said it. I was just thinking it would be great if you could get some more interviews, but then I realized I hadn't taken their schedules into account.
取材の対象？
Oh, well, I thought you could talk to more people, like interviewing a more senior doctor maybe, but it'll be a big ask on such short notice.
確かに医師への取材となると事前に予定を空けておいてもらわないと難しそうですね。
Exactly. I'm sorry, I just rushed into that without thinking.
いえ、ここまでの取材でも研修医さんにたくさん協力していただいたので十分です。
Well, I'm glad to hear it, but if I can help with anything else, feel free to ask, okay?
はい、ありがとうございました。
For the time being, I was done gathering materials for the PR brochure. After I'll finished work for the day, I began to head home, but I was still mulling over what Cocoro had said earlier.
取材対象を広げるか。
Okay,
いい
maybe...
考えではあるんだけどな。
Yeah, maybe it's not going to get us anywhere.
上長に相談してもう一日取材日をもらってインタビュー対象を検討するとかできないかな。
Echo? I stopped in surprise and turned to find Cocoro hurrying towards me, looking slightly out of breath. Are you on your way home?
はい、さっき病院を出たところで研修医さんも駅に行きます？
Yes, that's right. If you don't mind, maybe we could walk there together.
構いませんよ。
I nodded and Cocoro smiled happily at me, her expression lighting up as she fell into step at my side.
研修医さんって笑顔が魅力的で可愛いな。なんだか妹みたいに思えちゃう。研修医さんはおいくつですか？
I'm 26. How about you?
私も26歳です。同い年だったんですね。
But you are so level-headed. I don't know why, but you seem like the perfect big sister.
そう言ってもらえるとちょっと嬉しいです。
Could this mean that maybe we can date the girl too? I don't know. Is this just like one of those endings, or can we just date the girl too? Because I have no information about that. It was a little embarrassing, and yet at the same time, I was genuinely happy that she'll be thinking the same sort of thing I was. I was still smiling as we continued towards the station when suddenly I spotted a man approaching us.
ねえ、そこのお嬢さんたち？
Oh, we have more. Oh, we have more. Yeah, because I was like, because like in here, let me just see it. Because in here, like they present us like Shu, Tashibana, this guy, the Takafumi sensei, Leon, and then there's like this guy that we haven't seen yet, which is Knight, and then we have Ko, which is like this girl that we have in here. Yeah, like I was hearing them and I was like, yeah, I recognize all of these guys. Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm seeing, no, I'm just like seeing the voice actors and I'm like, yeah. So yeah, great. We can see a little bit more. So, hey there, ladies. Okay. Akuto?
急になんだろうこの人。
His smile was friendly, but there was something suspicious about him, and I got the feeling he'll be nothing but trouble. I was about to ignore him when I realized he was reaching out towards Cocoro.
ねえ、ちょっと待ってくれないかな。
Oh my god, like his eyes are like, I don't know, so green.
触らないでください。
I grabbed hold of Kokoro's hand, pulling her towards me and stepping protectively in front of her.
私たちナンパに興味はないので。
Yep.
え？
He does look like a host, doesn't he? Like, you would see like this guy and would be like, is he like a ghost? A ghost, oh my god, a host. Do not mind me. A host trying to like get us into a club or something. I don't know. The man's eyes went wide and round at my words as if I was speaking gibberish. He scrunched up his face a little, looking thoughtful, and then suddenly his expression relaxed into a smile again.
ああ、そっか。ナンパだと思われちゃったのか。ごめんね。
Ko, it's okay. I know him.
知り合い？
This is Akuto. I guess you could say he's my friend.
そこは恋人って言ってほしいんだけど。
Yeah. Nope, you're definitely not my boyfriend.
そっか。残念。
Was he a weirdo? I still wasn't entirely sure, but he smiled and winked as he spoke, and I was caught off guard by how handsome he looked. I was still staring at him in confusion and disbelief, and he turned to face me again, bowing, sorry, not bowing. This is what happens when I'm just reading things very raw, okay? This is what, bowing. You don't need to make fun of me, okay? This is what happens. So, bowing politely.
はじめまして、お嬢さん。アクトと申します。
あ、こうです。
こうちゃんか。よろしくね。
Oh my god, he's like, Ko-chan already. Oh my god, dude. I've been wary at first, but there was something so beautiful and graceful about his every movement, and I couldn't help staring. His tone and his words were playful and flirty, but he had this incredibly sophisticated, elegant vibe to him, and it made for a strange mix.
ところで二人はこれからどこかに行くの？
No, we're just both headed home the same way, that's all.
ちょうどよかった。これから三人で食事でもどうかな。
私は結構です。
釣れないね。もちろん僕がご馳走するから遠慮なんてしなくていいのに。まさか君まで僕の誘いを断るのかな。
I don't know, I guess I could go if Ko goes too. Akuto's hopeful gaze moved towards me at once, and I hesitated a moment.
まあいいか。今夜は別に予定もないし。
It's just kind of funny that supposedly our main character is Cocoro, but we are seeing everything through Ko's eyes. It's just like kind of funny, isn't it?
それではご一緒させていただきます。
Yeah, I think it's kind of refreshing in a certain way, isn't it? Because we can see like her perspective too. It's kind of funny.
よかった。おすすめの店があるんだ。さあ行こう。
Akuto took us to a restaurant situated inside a luxury hotel.
こういうところって予約しなくても入れるんだ。
I don't know. Everything about the place looked really upscale, and as I stared around in fascination, Cocoro gave a sudden gasp at my side. Akuto, are you sure this is okay? I mean, look at what I'm wearing.
大丈夫。かわいいよ。とっても似合ってる。
I mean, I would also say that you are very well dressed for a person that was just working moments ago. I would not dress that to my work, but I don't know. Okay? Yeah, I mean, in here it's more like in here at least. It's more like you are okay to go with jeans and all of it. It's like not too much casual, but you can just take like some jeans and like a coat and like something, you know, more like, you know, that reserved kind of look, you know, like, yeah, that's kind of like okay, but you don't have to go like this, like she's dressed like this, you know, like I would not go like this to work. But I mean, it would depend the type of work, of course, but like she was at a hospital, right? But we are also talking about a futuristic kind of situation, so yeah, I need to remember about that. That's not what I meant. This place looks really fancy. Are you sure it's okay for me to be here when I'm dressed so casually? Oh girl, you are really dressed very casually.
平気平気。個室だから。
Oh, I
個
see.
室？こんな高級そうなお店の？
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Akuto strolled calmly through the room, looking as if he did this every day, and I tried my best not to gawk at him.
これはアクト様、いらっしゃいませ。
3人なんだけど、個室は空いてる？
はい、ただいまご案内いたします。
The man was dressed elegantly, and he bowed politely and turned away as if us being there was completely normal. I was feeling more flustered by the minute, but I fell into step at Cocoro's side as we followed after him.
すごいな。こんなレストラン初めてかも。
The room we'll be shown to was clearly some sort of special room for VIP guests only. The interior design was lavish without being over the top. Everything was simple yet refined, and I was amazed by how stylish it all looked. The man who escorted us there even went so far as to pull each of our chairs out for us and help us sit down before leaving. Actually, like in here, it's kind of like you do have some restaurants. They do not need to be like that upscale restaurants where they still do that, to be honest. Yeah, in here we kind of still have those. Thank you. Oh, wait, shouldn't he be asking us what we want to drink?
料理と飲み物は専用のタブレットから選べば何でも持ってきてくれるよ。あれは案内だけだからね。2人とも何か希望はある？
何でもいいんですか？
もちろん。ボトルでもオリジナルでも好きなものを頼んでよ。
本当ですか？では赤ワインをお願いします。研修医さんも飲む？
Oh, well, I've actually never had alcohol before.
そうなんですね。じゃあやっぱりソフトドリンク。
No, don't worry about me. You should drink whatever you like. I'm actually a bit curious to see what alcohol tastes like, so now I'm thinking maybe I should take the opportunity to give it a try.
いいね。じゃあ僕のおすすめのカクテルなんてどうかな？
Yes, please. And what are you going to have?
僕は仕事が入るかもしれないからノンアルコールで。
Yeah, I do. I was like looking at him, and I think he might be some kind of host. Like at the first sight, I was like, this guy looks like a host. I might have to work at some point, so I'll have something non-alcoholic. Okay. Akuto picked up the tablet and began to place an order for our drinks and the rest of our meal too. As I watched him, I couldn't help leaning in close and whispering to Cocoro.
アクトさんって何者なんですか？
Honestly, I don't really know either.
何の話？
Akuto, what exactly do you do? This place is very fancy, but you seem right at home here, and you've always got this stylish vibe to you too.
それって褒めてくれてる？
Well, I guess it counts as a compliment.
君は面白いね。でも、そうだな。ミステリアスな方が魅力的だし、僕の正体は秘密ってことで。
Akuto winked at us both, and at the very moment, our drinks were brought in.
じゃあ、赤ワインと、これはあなたに。
It looks a bit like apple juice, the color, I mean. Cocoro gazed curiously at the glass that had been set down in front of her.
ジンとシャルトリューズをベースにしたアラスカっていうカクテルだよ。
Oh, I see.
苦手だと思ったらすぐにリンゴジュースに変更するから言ってね。
Okay, thank you.
待って、アラスカって度数30くらいじゃなかった？
Well, he asked for a cocktail, so...
お酒を初めて飲むのにそんな強い度数のものは危ないんじゃ。
Yeah, let me tell you something. If you never experienced alcohol, it's really not good for you to start by trying something that has a high level of alcohol. And why am I saying this? Some people are actually allergic to alcohol. You may be like, what? It is true, okay? So I would not advise you to start with a higher content, okay?
そうなの？
アクトさんすごい驚いてる。もしかすると普段はお酒を勧めない人なのかも。
I don't know if it's that the situation. But it looks delicious, and since it's here, I'm going to give it a try.
大丈夫かな？
I couldn't help feeling a little uneasy, but the three of us clinked our glasses together all the same. Cocoro lifted the glass to her lips and took a small sip. Oh, that's really good.
よかった。キリッとした味わいが楽しめるカクテルなんだ。
I guess it's strong, like Ko said, but it goes down really easily too. Oh my god. I still felt worried, but Cocoro seemed oblivious to the very idea of worry as she happily drank the Alaska. From the look of it, she didn't seem to be struggling with it, and I wondered if perhaps she actually had a decent tolerance for alcohol.
いい飲みっぷりだね。
Cocoro was happily gulping her cocktail down as if it really was apple juice, and there was laughter in Akuto's voice. But her cheeks were starting to glow as red as an apple too, and I wondered if maybe she was getting drunk after all.
アクトさんって
I cut myself off, not sure I actually dare say anything, but his gaze moved towards me, so I blurted out the first thing that came to mind.
アクトさんって不思議な人ですよね。こうつかめないというか、なんというか。
ん？そうかな。
But you and Shu, Dr. Shu, went to the same college, right?
シュウ先生って精神科の？
Even I knew his name. He was well regarded at the hospital, and many people considered him a genius.
学部は違ったけどね。修は医学部で、僕は法学部。
Really? Dude, I still think you are probably a host, but now you're saying that you were studying law?
でも1年の時 AI 史の授業で一緒だったんだ。
Wow, you actually studied AI history. It was an elective subject at my college, so I never took it.
ほとんどの大学がそうだね。うちでも選択してる学生は少なかったな。今の AI 管理社会までの流れを知るのはまあまあ面白かったよ。
Mama. Okay.
特にシュウは僕が今まで見てきた人間の中で一番興味深い考えを持っていたしね。
What sort of ideas?
それは秘密。
Himitsu. Not another secret.
だってシュウの考えを僕がベラベラ喋るのは違うでしょ。機会があったら彼に聞いてみるといい。
Even if I did ask him, he wouldn't tell me.
それはわからないでしょ。君とシュウの仲じゃない。
Akuto?
研修医さんと修先生の仲。
Cocoro seemed suddenly flustered, and I didn't know what to think. But Akuto grinned at me. I was like, did I say it wrong this time? Grinned at me as if he could see my confusion. Yeah, I usually don't stagger this much, like especially with this word. The thing is, like, because I can't understand everything that's going on here, and I am processing my language, the English language, and I'm hearing the Japanese too, and it's like, you have no idea, like, it's such a mess when it's like this. When I'm doing it, like, of course, like, this happens when I'm playing other games, but I'm, like, in my head, you know, but when I'm doing it, like, in here, like, reading it out loud, it starts getting, like, it's such a mess. And then it's like, this is a localized one, so sometimes they say a thing in a way, and it's translated in another way, which actually means exactly the same, okay? It's just, you know, it's just that.
彼女はシュウと幼馴染なんだって。
そうなんですか？
Well, yes, but despite how that sounds, we only really spent a bit of time together when we were kids. And then we didn't see each other again until very recently.
ああ、病院で？
Yes.
あのシュウが気にかけてるって聞いて、どんな子なんだろうって興味が湧いたんだよね。
I'm sure he's only worried because I'm still a very inexperienced intern.
そんなことないでしょ。僕はいつだって君のこと知りたいけどな。
Sure, thanks, whatever you say.
本当なんだけどな。今日だってやっと一緒に食事に来てくれたし。
Well, that's because, I mean, I didn't have a reason to have dinner with you before.
そんなことないよ。お互いのことを知るのは大切なことだよ。
Why is it important?
さっきも俺のこと聞いてくれたでしょ。食事に付き合ってくれたらいくらでも話してあげるのに。
I'm pretty sure all you said was that being mysterious is far more appealing.
そこを突かれると痛いな。じゃあ前言撤回するからさ。
Akuto, you're just saying whatever sounds good, aren't you?
君は手強いね。
Yeah, like funny that they never, ever, ever. This is, I think it's because you can't choose the main protagonist name. So usually it's kind of funny because usually they actually say the name when you pick the same one, but not in this one. In fact, it's been a really, really long time. You had these more in the old games. But at least the most recent ones, they usually always do that. They always like actually say the name of the main protagonist. This was something that you would actually find in some old ones, as I recall. Yeah, some old ones.
明らかに口説かれてるのに、研修医さん全然本気にしてないな。
Akuto's tone was so playful that he made everything sound like a joke, and maybe she thought that's all it was. But there was something in the way he was looking at Cocoro that told me he was serious.
やっぱりアクトさんって。アクトさん、さっきのアラスカのことなんですけど。
ああ、こうちゃんも飲んでみる？オーダーしようか？
アラスカのカクテル言葉は偽りなき心ですよね。
I was trying my best to sound him out, and he raised an eyebrow at me in return.
カクテル言葉なんてあるんだ。こうちゃんって物知りだね。
昔読んだ本で見たことがあったので、アラスカを勧めたってことは、アクトさんってもしかして本気で。
All I wanted to ask was if he was serious about Cocoro. But I couldn't bring myself to say the words out loud. Why? Because Akuto gave me a suggestive smile and pressed his finger to his lips in a shushing gesture. What was that? But before Cocoro could finish speaking, a sudden shrill alarm echoed through the room. And now what? Cocoro started in surprise, half standing up from her chair, and then someone knocked on the door.
失礼します。アクト様。
Oh, this guy works for him? So this is another one? The night one is another one.
綺麗な人。
The man who stepped into the room was wearing a tailored suit, and his long hair was tied back in a low ponytail.
何があった？夜。
Yoru, okay, yeah, I understand. Yeah, that's correct. The man bowed politely and crossed to stand at Akuto's side.
店の AI が不具合を起こしたようです。
そう。まあ大きなトラブルじゃなさそうだね。
What's going on?
このレストランは完全 AI 管理なんだ。だから AI システムが落ちちゃうと通常営業は無理ってこと。
Oh my god. So, yeah, maybe this is what we will find in the future, which is like then no one knows what to do. Like if we really end up in a situation like this where like everyone is just so accustomed to have like AI for everything, then suddenly there's like, I don't know, no system or like no electrician or something, and no one knows what to do anything. Wait, the restaurant is run by AI too?
オーダーをもとに AI がレシピを作成。お客様に合わせた調味料や味付けの料理が提供できるってこと。ゼノリアのほとんどのレストランは AI システムを使っていると思うよ。
I had no idea, so what about paying for...
すべてキャッシュレス決済だね。そもそも店員だって全員アンドロイドだし。
Huh? Wait, even the guy who escorted us here too?
もちろん。人じゃないけどね。
I guess that explains the way Akuto spoke to him then. I was wondering why he said, is there a private room free? Like the guy wasn't even a part of the equation. This whole AI controlled society thing is amazing, but it's challenging too.
それにしても AI の不具合が最近多いね。サイバー攻撃でも受けてるのかな。
めったなことをおっしゃりませんよ。何にせよ、ここは危険かもしれません。アクト様の身に何かあってはいけませんので、速やかに退店いたしましょう。
大丈夫でしょ。まだ。
Huh?
彼女たちを残して一人だけ帰るのは紳士としてよろしくない。それにまだデザートのプリンが残ってる。
And with that, Akuto set his flan down in front of him and cheerfully lifted a spoonful of it towards his lips. Akuto, aren't you going to put caramel on it? I glanced over and realized there was a small bowl full of caramel sitting next to Akuto's plate, but he didn't seem at all interested in it.
プリンのキャラメルは別添えは先祖の教えでね。
カラメルが苦手ってことか。
申し訳ありません。アクト様はこのようにとてもマイペースな方で。
いえ。
ご挨拶が遅れました。改めまして私は秘書のヨルと申します。
こうです。ゼノリア総合メディカルセンターで広報を担当しております。
メディカルセンターにお勤めということは、コウ様はあなたのご友人でございますね。
様？
I froze, not sure what to think, and Cocoro leaned closer and whispered in my ear. When we first met, he called me Kokoro-sama. He actually said sama. He called me Kokoro-sama, and it startled me too. But he'll drop it if you ask him to. I gave her a quick nod and turned back to Night with a smile.
夜さん、私のことはぜひさんで呼んでください。
かしこまりました。それではコウさん、アクト様ともども今後とも何卒よろしくお願いいたします。
I nodded awkwardly and as Knight bowed formally, and then he stepped politely out of the way again as Cocoro and I reached for our desserts. And unlike Akuto, we both put the caramel sauce on our flans before we ate them. When we were finished eating, we tried to pay, but Akuto insisted on paying for everything. I'm sorry for making you pay for us, but thank you very much.
僕が誘ったんだから気にしないで。本当ならきちんとあなたたちを自宅まで送り届けるべきなんだろうけど。
For me, like in situations like this, let me tell you, I am expecting that the other person is going to pay. I know that it's kind of like different in the US, but in here it's more like you say like go Dutch. We kind of like split the bill. In here we do it too. The thing is, in a situation like this, which is like I was not prepared for it, this person led me into going to this dinner with himself. So it's kind of like a situation where like I was not prepared for this. So I am expecting that you are going to be the one that is going to pay. Okay, but I know that it's different like in there for you, but for us, at least like in here, it's more like that. Like we usually split the bill. And each person pays for what they actually ate. Or drunk, like. But in a situation like this, we would probably be expecting, like, we would probably not even say nothing. It's just like we would just expect the other person to be paying because it was not something that was scheduled. You understand? Like it was not scheduled.
これから行かなきゃいけないところがあるから、今日はここで失礼するね。
That's okay. Thank you for dinner. Cocoro and I both thanked Akuto, and he lifted one hand in casual wave as he turned and walked away.
アクト様、車はあちらに。
わかった。あ、そうだ。
Yes?
もしこの AI 管理されたゼノリアで不安で眠れないようだったら、僕に。
Why are you going to like be with us during that time? Huh?
いや、週に連絡して。きっと助けになってくれる。
You want me to call Shu?
もちろん。僕に連絡をくれてもいいけど。
Akuto laughed brightly as if he were joking and then winked again before turning away. The two of us stood there in silence, watching him vanish into the distance, but I found my gaze drawn to Cocoro. Something about her expression seemed sorrowful somehow, and I bit my lip. Oh well, I guess we should get going, right? Cocoro smiled at me as if shaking off whatever was on her mind, and I smiled and nodded back at her.
そうですね。
We turned and head towards the train station, both of us quiet again, but suddenly Kokoro's soft voice broke the silence. I guess AI isn't perfect then.
さっきの不具合の件ですか？確かに最近は AI システムが不安定な気がします。病院でも似たようなことが起きてるので。
Really?
噂では誰かが意図的に仕組んだんじゃないかって言われてもいますよ。要はサイバー攻撃ってことです。
But that's awful. Cocoro looked horrified, as if the idea had never occurred to her before, and she bowed her head, her gaze dropping away. I heard that she'd grown up on an island somewhere without AI, so I could imagine she must have mixed feelings about AI too.
こういう時は話題を変えた方がいいかな。帰るだけのつもりだったのに、なんだかすごいことになっちゃいましたね。あんな高級レストラン初めて行きました。
Akuto's always like that. He appears suddenly and disappears just as suddenly too, and whenever I see him, he just constantly makes jokes. And then he's always trying to make me spend more time with Shu, even though Shu and I really are just childhood friends. Cocoro gazed up at the sky as she spoke, her voice more whispered than anything. I glanced over at her, and something about the look on her face gave me the impression that she felt something for Akuto. Something like love. Really? What?
そっか。研修医さんはアクトさんのことが。
Really?
私応援しますよ。
Huh? What for?
それはもちろん研修医さんとアクトさんの。
But I cut myself off as our eyes met, and then I burst out laughing. It was clear from the look in her eyes that she was oblivious to what she was actually feeling.
これはアクトさんも大変そうだな。あ、そうだ。思いついたんですけど、新しい広報誌に AI のことも入れてみるのはどうでしょうか。
You want to write about AI?
そうすれば今後はアクトさんにも協力をお願いできると思います。
Oh, you're right. That could work out really well. Kokoro's face lit up, and she was so obviously delighted that it was adorable. It felt like the most natural thing in the world to want to support another woman in love.
私、研修医さんともっと仲良くなりたいな。
What?
今度から研修医ちゃんって呼んでもいい？
I smiled at her as I spoke, and her eyes widened in surprise just for a moment. But the next moment, she was smiling warmly back at me. I'd like to get to know you better too, Ko. Let's be friends.
もちろん。これから困ったことがあったら何でも相談してね。特に恋の悩み事とか。
I'm not troubled by anything like that at all. Kokoro's cheeks flushed pink at my words, and she quickly turned her head away from me. But even that was adorable somehow, and I couldn't help laughing again. Come on, you don't have to laugh that much.
ごめんごめん。だって研修医ちゃんが可愛いから。
We were walking together and laughing together, and my heart felt warm and full. I could easily imagine how difficult any sort of romance between Cocoro and Akuto might be, but even so, I couldn't help hoping that the two of them might find their happily ever after somehow. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm kind of thinking, could it be that they are not saying her name because when they translated the name, they didn't put it the same one? Let me check it. Because, I mean, it could be that. He's just saying that it's going to erase our... not erase, but it's going over our autosave. It's just that. Yeah, no, it's Cocoro. Yeah, it's the same one. So it's exact. I was even like trying to see if she had another name. No, it's really just this. Yeah, yeah, that's it. So what do I have to say? Like, I mean, the demo didn't actually give us much, but it was cool because they are like, I don't know, 6. I think they are like 6 or something. So it was probably like hard for us in a demo to have like a real feeling from all of them. I was extremely curious about Takafumi Sensei. I was like, oh, this guy might be like very interesting, but I liked all of them, okay? And what I liked the most, I think it was like, this is, let me tell you guys, this is not an auto machine translation, and I can totally guarantee you that. So I like it that it was a localized one, finally, because like most of the time you're just getting these auto translation machines kind of thing. So yeah, I think I will put this one on my wish list and see when it comes for us. Like, this was a surprise, that you actually recommended for me. So by now we already did the 4 games that you recommended us to do. There was like let me tell you something. There was like a BL game and a Yuri game that I still wanted to do, but I don't think I'm going to be able. I don't think so. So I am expecting that maybe, like, from now on, I will always say maybe, because I have the trip and I don't know how things are going to go. I may need some time or something. So I am expecting tomorrow for us to do another Otome game, but it's a free-to-play one. Okay, it's going to be different. It's going to be a free-to-play one, and I'm going to tell you why when the time comes, okay? So for today, we are going to stay in here. And that's it for today. I'm going to leave the link in the description for you to see the demo, although we actually explored all of the choices in here. But I don't know, maybe you want to play it for yourself and get the feeling of it. And that's it for today. I'm going to leave you, and tomorrow we'll come back once again. So thank you very much for being in there. Thank you. See you next time.